Thank you for making time for us on NTV Weekend Edition this Saturday, 22nd June 2019. We are coming to you live from the Nation Center here in the capital. But first, the headlines. Tonight, the growing rift in the Jubilee Party. Verbal guns are now pointed at Secretary General Raphael Tuju.
Wacha kutuambia ati ile recording is a forgery. If there is anything that is a forgery, it is you, yourself. Jubilee Party is not the party for you. Go to ODM.
I want to advise them not to be used to bring hate and breed division and breed ethnicity in this party.
Also tonight, caught red-handed.
We found someone who purports to be a nurse actually conducting an abortion.
Student conducting abortion while drunk arrested. Pregnant woman rushed to hospital. Plus, taking change into your own hands when government fails to deliver.
Mara ya mwisho mimi niliona City Council wakitufagilia, wakitupigia dawa za umbu mitaani kwa maji taka mtaani. Ilikuwa mwaka wa 84.
The story of youth changing the Dandora narrative. And the joy of hearing well again and for free.
Sababu hii shida imefika mwisho. Nimeshukuru na nimesema mudumu milele.
Itanisaidia badala ya kushida nikiripiti kuambia mtu rudia.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. To our top story, heavily armed Al-Shabaab militants attacked Yumbis, a village near the Kenya-Somalia border in Fafi constituency in Garissa County, destroying a communication mast and reportedly torching the Border Patrol Police Unit camp. The assailants reportedly started by destroying the Safaricom mast slightly before midnight Friday before attacking the Yumbis Border Patrol camp. Locals say officers responded by firing, resulting in a heavy gun battle between the militants and the Kenyan security officers. A press statement by police spokesman Charles Owino says that the assailants attacked the Border Patrol unit, but Kenyan police officers engaged and repulsed them with reinforcement from special forces, killing 3 on the spot. The statement further says that security agencies are now on the ground pursuing the rest of the assailants. The rifts in the Jubilee Party continue to widen, with members now at war with each other along the lines of the Kieleweke and Tangatanga camps. Deputy President William Ruto has warned Jubilee Party officials against being used to divide and entrench hate and ethnicity in the party. In a scathing attack on Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto said there was no place in the party for leaders such as Tuju. The leaders have also called for the sacking of cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries who they accuse of political meddling and specifically being used to scuttle Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential bid.
On Saturday, Deputy President William Ruto, accompanied by a section of Jubilee leaders, pitched camp in Trans Nzoia County. It is here that DP Ruto warned Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, together with other Jubilee officials, against being used to cause division within the party.
Wasitumike ama kutumiwa kuanza kulete fujo ndani ya chama, kulete ukabila ndani ya chama, kulete chuki ndani ya chama, na kulete mambo ambayo itaharibu sura na sera ya chama ya Jubilee.
This comes few days after a recorded phone conversation alleged to be that of Tuju and politician George Nyanja, a former Limuru MP, planning how to sabotage and attack Ruto politically, emerged. The Tangatanga legislators who accompanied Ruto were more direct in the attack of Tuju, accusing him of being used to sabotage the DP.
Wacha kutuambia ati ile recording is a forgery. If there is anything that is a forgery, it is you, yourself, who is a forgery. Raphael Tuju, if you want to engage in divisive politics, you are at the wrong place. Jubilee Party is not the party for you. Go to ODM.
Another group of MPs allied to the deputy president had on Friday taken the battle to cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, who they accuse of using their offices to sabotage Ruto's tours in Mount Kenya region. They spoke after some Kisii MPs asked Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i to vie for the presidency in 2022, with the Interior CS criticizing politicians for taking away focus from the president's Big Four agenda.
Kama wako na jama kama hiyo, sisi tutawaonana na wao na tunawaomba watoke katika maofisi ya serikali, tupatane kwa uwanja wa siasa ili waelewe pia sisi hatuogopi.
The reasons why the Big Four continues to struggle and it is not taking off as it was expected is because there are cabinet secretaries and permanent secretaries who have neglected their duties and they are now concentrating on how to handle succession politics.
It is not the first time a senior Jubilee Party official is finding himself in trouble. Previously, David Murathe had to resign as Jubilee vice chairman after Ruto's allies took him on for vowing to scuttle Ruto's 2022 presidential bid. Vincent Odur, NTV.
The government has not paid container freight stations for cargo to be released from the depots, despite the presidential directive to clear the backlog. This is according to business persons who have decried the non-payment, even as the time frame of the presidential directive lapsed almost a week ago. Some containers have been cleared on account of the multi-agency team, but many others are still on the ground. NTV's Mel Miendo has that report.
Containers sit at the Inland Container Depot in Nairobi's industrial area in their hundreds. The 3-week amnesty extended by President Uhuru Kenyatta to have the small traders' imported goods released lapsed on Monday. The situation on the ground points to a failure on the agency's part to fulfill the president's order as expected.
Hakuna mtu atastakiwa, hatujui uoga inatoka wapi. Watu wa DCI wako hapa wanasema hakuna mtu anastaki. Ile kitu baya tu ndio inaondolewa kama kuna kitu baya, na hakuna penalty mtu anapigwa.
Just this week, Trade Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya said that 300 containers at the Embakasi ICD had been cleared and were to be released by yesterday, Friday, the 21st of June. The Importers and Small Traders Association says that not all the containers can be released and the blame is on the government's end.
Kama Mombasa, kuna watu wamekwama huko siku 3. Wafanyabiashara waliteremka, wameona mizigo yao, mizigo imetolewa, lakini changamoto CFS wanasema pesa hawajapewa. Tunaomba kama ni Treasury ama ni which government department iongee na watu ya CFS na shipping line.
The traders want the customs declaration done actively within 72 hours. The government is seeking to deal firmly with tax evaders. This is being done by a multi-agency team headed by Deputy Head of Public Service, Wanyama Musiambo, and comprising of the Kenya Revenue and the Kenya Ports Authorities, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Mel Miendo, NTV.
A medical student in Kitale town has been arrested for illegally performing an abortion on a woman. The man claims that he is a graduate from the Kenya Medical Training College in Kitale town and has been working at a private clinic since March. He was drunk while performing that dangerous operation, attracting screams from the woman. This alerted the officers from the Ministry of Health who were carrying out inspections within the town. Medical officers from the Clinical Officers Council and the Pharmacy and Poisons Board are targeting facilities without licenses and certificates.
Equipment in this old and unhygienic private clinic tells a chilling story of the risky operation that occurred here earlier today. A pregnant woman walked into the Sirikwa Medical Laboratory only to leave in an ambulance and in a rush to Kitale County Referral Hospital in critical condition following a risky abortion at this private clinic. Her panicked screams would save her life as medical officers conducting crackdowns in private clinics nearby rushed to her rescue.
We found someone who purports to be a nurse actually conducting an abortion. And we managed to seize him.
The medical student claims to have completed his final exams in March this year. The officers, however, had a hard time believing the man's claims given his condition during the raid.
We have to see the papers, we have to confirm everything. But the way he is drunk, so we can't even trust what he's telling us.
The officers say that they will ensure violators of the law in the area are dealt with.
In some cases where the culprits run away, we do total seizure. We seize everything. If it's a chemist, we take all the drugs and we book them. So literally we are closing all the illegal facilities.
The student is now in police custody pending his arraignment. Stacey Kirori, NTV.
Now, the government has raised the alarm over what it terms as the increasing pollution of the Indian Ocean, and which it warns could affect marine life at the coast. Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko has at the same time called for the speedy replanting of mangrove trees on the coastal strip in the wake of a sharp decline of the trees, which he says poses greater threat to both residents, users of the ocean, and marine life. NTV's Silas Apollo has that report.
Speaking in Mombasa during a drive to replant mangrove trees that have been cut down at the coast, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko said that marine life at the coast was at a risk.
A few months ago, again, we are around here doing monthly beach cleanups. We are working on a waste recovery joint program, as well as a Mombasa City regeneration initiative. So
this, he said, was because of the increased pollution of the Indian Ocean. Tobiko also raised the alarm over increased decline of the mangrove trees at the coastal strip, which he says has affected the lifeline of the ocean.
The reason tuliwatoa viongozi wapo wa KFS walikuwa wazembe na wafisadi. Kama kuna wengine hapa kwa ground na wanacheza watoe. Pana wanyama watu huruma hapa. Uliletwa hapo kuwekwa ukilina bio pale.
Increased pollution of the ocean has in the past been blamed for the decline of tourism in the coastal region. The pollution has been linked on dumping of plastics and waste. In 2017, Kenya Wildlife Services and the Watamu Marine Association spent nearly an entire day freeing a dolphin that was near suffocation after being trapped in a plastic bag.
Cover ya Kenya ni 7.2%. 7.2%. During independence, it was 30% during independence. Sasa jiulize, what happened to the 23%? Zilioza? Hapana, sisi wenyewe ndio tulikula.
And the planting of the mangroves follows the launch of a 14 million shillings mangrove trees planting project by the French government this month. Kenya has approximately 60,645 hectares of public mangrove forest found along the coastal line, but which has been declining in the past. The country also hosts 9 of the 70 mangrove species found in the world. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Over 500 people with various hearing impairments today received free specialized checkup at a medical camp in Nairobi, organized by the Starkey Hearing Foundation. NTV's Rose Wangoi has more details.
Dozens of people today flocked Public Service Club in Upper Hill for the medical camp. The medical camp, which attracted patients from various counties, witnessed dozens of people with hearing impairment acquire specialized hearing aids. They waited patiently in long queues. Here, a number of specialist doctors conducted careful examinations and then recommend hearing aid equipment for the needy persons. Rose Waitei was among hundreds of people who turned up at the medical camp. She says her 2 children were born with severe hearing problems in addition to complex medical needs.
Stress juu sasa sina job, asina nini pesa kuwatafutia mashini. But leo vile wamepata mashini nimefurahi. At least nitakuwa stress free.
Mary Wanjikol traveled all the way from Nyahururu when she heard about the medical camp by a relative. Mary says she experienced a rapid decrease in her hearing levels at a very young age.
Sikio la left halikuwa linasikia lolote. Hata wakati ninasikianga kidogo nilikuwa natumia hii ya right. Na sababu hii shida imefika mwisho, Nimeshukuru na nimesema mudumu milele.
Josephat Kinyanjui too benefited from the medical camp. He was diagnosed with severe to profound hearing loss 5 years ago.
Nilikuwa wakati mwingine na kusikia vizuri, wakati mwingine sikusikii vizuri. Itanisaidia badala ya kushinda nikirepeat. Kuambia mtu rudia.
Disabling hearing loss affects millions of people, yet many do not have access to the hearing devices that improve lives and promote understanding. More than 500 patients were able to get specialized checkups and received hearing aids.
Very young children being genetic and the very old being as a result of degenerative conditions, the old age.
About 80% end up hearing aids are the only option for them. So we fit them with hearing aids and then help them implement them into their life. And the impact is unbelievable.
Most affected are people with hearing difficulties from poor backgrounds who had no access to the devices and thus remained locked out from hearing, yet their condition could be addressed.
Up to 60% of causes of hearing loss are preventable, and those include ear infections. You know that the threshold of loud music tends to affect the ear.
The gadgets cost more than 20,000 shillings, which is beyond the means of most people. Starkey Hearing Foundation, manufacturers of the hearing aids, have committed to provide free hearing checks and aids across the world as a way of giving back to the society to hundreds of hearing impaired persons who could not afford the expensive gadgets. Rosongwe, NTV.
Quite a huge relief for those patients who can now hear normally like most of us. 18 minutes past the hour. Let's take our first short break on NTV Weekend Edition. We still have more. Don't go too far. Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Dandora Estate in Nairobi has for a long time been associated with negative headlines of crime and poverty, but now there is a wind of change in one of the city's biggest slums. A group of young men, mostly ex-convicts, have formed a community-based organization known as the Dandora Transformation League. The young men have taken a step to be the change that they want to see by transforming their community. NTV's Helen Aura visited Dandora and engaged some of the members of that group.
For a long time, Dandora has been associated with all manner of social ills and a bad reputation. The high crime rates have been a defining trait. Charles Gishonge, who was born and raised in Dandora, claims that this drove out government cleaners from the area, which was once a clean estate, and the situation deteriorated due to lack of a proper system.
Kijua Dandora tulikuja tukiwa ikiwa estate very clean, lakini mara ya mwisho mimi niliona City Council wakitufagilia, wakitupigia dawa za umbu mitaani kwa maji taka mtaani, ilikuwa mwaka wa 1984. So since 1984 kuja mpaka 2013 Dandora ilikuwa na kuna mtu anauliza yoyote swali ni kwa nini unatupa taka hapo, kwa nini unachafua, au kwa upande wa crime kila mtu alikuwa comfortable akiona kijana akipigwa, kijana ni mwizi anapigwa risasi.
Unemployment has also been a key factor driving youth to the wall, but the narrative is slowly changing.
Ilikuwa ni jambo la kawaida kusikia risasi kila siku, hata sasa tumekaa utasikia risasi, lakini leo hii tunamaliza miezi kadhaa hatujasikia risasi.
All this because of a peculiar project that lies at the heart of Dandora community, driven by a youth group known as Dandora Transformative League. And the change in the community is clear from the experience of these young ones, as this former dump site has been turned into a vibrant playing ground. The community-based organization, which was begun in 2013, is now comprised of 3,000 youth. They have created a court system which has helped rehabilitate the community and the youth in the area, as it has helped seal all loopholes by securing the estates. At first, it was not easy as they did not have enough funds for the project, but through the help of the area chief and authorities, the group was able to carry on. The group is majorly in charge of providing security, cleanliness, as well as carrying out regeneration projects in the area. Tenants, landlords, and business owners contribute a certain amount per month that aids the projects. Evans, who is in charge of phase 2, is among the many youth who has changed his tools of trade.
Okay, nilikuwa nafanyanga robbery ya smartness. That is, sikukuwa naenda na gun, but nilikuwa naweza pretend ni kama niko na gun. Umeona? That is, unaona ile kitu nimekujanga kujua, watu wanakuanga waoga wakisikianga tu maneno ya gun. So hata kama una gun na ushike tu kiuno yako na useme jaribu, mtu already ajui kama uko na gun.
A cycle that began at a tender age for many of the boys in the area.
Sisi tukigrow tukiwa watoto hii Dando, role model wetu walikuanga ni madingo. So unapata tukigrow tulikuwa tunaonanga mtu mkubwa, unasema ukikuwa mkubwa unaweza taka kukua kama yeye. So unapata amevaa mambling, amevaa masilver, kama ni kiatu yeye ndiye akona zile kiatu kali kali. So tukigrow tulikuwa tunajua system ni kuiba. Ndio upachukua hii life ni lazima uibe. So what happens, ile the last time ndio mimi niachane na maneno na robbery, ni tulikuanga kwa robbery mission. Tukiwa kwa hiyo robbery mission, after just robbery nikiwa nimeenda nikasikia kumbe nyuma yetu mob ilikuwa inatufuatanga. So ile nikasikia hebu acha niende nijisaidie. Hapo ndio kumbe venye tu nilitoka hivi kwenda kujisaidia mahali kama pale, ndio hiyo raia ikafikanga, ikapiga mabeste zangu mpaka wote wakakufa. Sasa mimi nikiwa hapo nikasikianga mmoja amesema hata walikuwa na ule mwingine, mimi nikarukanga hiyo pande nyingine na nikatoroka hiyo siku hii.
And that was his turnaround, as he later joined the campaign to encourage other boys by giving them a way out. This project has seen the group receive a hand from the county government of Nairobi, as 300 of the youth are currently under the county's payroll.
Ngia huu mradi uanze, Dandora imekuwa safi, Dandora imechange, tumekuwa more secured, hata katika biashara imekuwa nzuri. Tunapoacha vitu zetu hapa, tuko sure zimelindwa.
Tangu wakati before anze hii kazi kulikuwa na
uchafu, but saizi kumekuwa kusafi.
They have received many international accolades, hailing them for their achievement towards the environment. The project has also spread its wings into Korogocho, where it is still in its inception stages, but they are hopeful that it will catch on, even in slum areas, to bring change among the youth in the nation.
Vijana waache kuhangaika na kazi. Kazi ziko. Sisi lazima tufanye sisi wote kazi kwa ofisi. Na zaidi, we cannot all live in Runda, but we can bring Runda into our doorsteps.
The change witnessed in Dandora community is just a fraction of what can happen when young, brilliant minds come together. These leaders of today vow to press on with the transformative agenda of their community. Helen Aura, NTV.
Such a noble initiative by those young men were not only transforming their own lives, but also the society and the community within which they live. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees has handed over 2 billion shillings worth of infrastructure to the government and the host community in Dadaab refugee camp, that's in Garissa County. At a ceremony witnessed by hundreds of residents, the UNHCR handed over the assets, which include a fully furnished hospital, schools and boreholes, which were left behind after refugees in Kiambios and Ifo2 were repatriated to their home country. Northeastern residents have been urged to work closely and volunteer information to security agencies to help assist in fighting terrorism. The leaders appealed to the government to remove the names of Kenyans registered as refugees from the UNHCR refugee list. The 3-decade-old camp still provides shelter for over 210,000 refugees who are mostly Somalis who fled violence and drought in Somalia. And on that note, let's take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, we have Women and Power.
Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, horror stories of domestic workers going rogue have been common on our airwaves, but this has not deterred Edith Murogo from having a soft spot for them. A teacher by profession, Edith founded the Center for Domestic Workers and Development to give them an opportunity to not only enhance their skills, but also empower themselves. She shares her 17-year-old journey with Gladys Gashanja in this week's Women Empower.
My name is Edith Murogo and I work with the Center for Domestic Training and Development. I'm the founder and current Chief Executive Officer. Here at CDTD, we run programs for domestic workers. Our institution is actually open to outside communities that want to take courses in hairdressing, fashion and design, and catering, and we also have ICT classes. Under the National Employment Authority, we are running a program where we are empowering domestic workers who are destined for the labor market outside this country. So some of them are going to the Middle East, while others are also going to other countries like Australia, Canada, and wherever they get work. We work and reach domestic workers through women groups, through the communities in the rural areas. And then we have already built a big group of the ones that we have already trained over the years. So they are very active out there. Way back in 1993, I found that I was looking for a good domestic worker, but I quickly realized that there were none in the market. So what I did, I started training in my own house. Basically, I turned around the situation from one of hopelessness to one of empowerment. We have a very strong movement, especially locally, and which is now spreading very quickly to like Tanzania, where we have received requests to start empowering partner organizations so that they can start similar programs. Over the years, we realized that the domestic workers cannot actually afford the training. So what we have been doing is to encourage them to enroll into the program with as little as 1,000 shillings, because the course is supposed to cost 10,000 shillings, 200. So you come in with a little money and then we train you, we accommodate you, we get a job for you and we support you, and then you pay back. We have a few donors who are supporting our activities, and working that way we have trained over 10,000 domestic workers over the years. We are not looking for the average teacher. We are looking for that teacher who is caring, who is humane, who is patient, you know, who can go down to the level of empowering someone without the kind of entry requirements that are required in other training institutions. Because for us, we separate the academics from the skill. And what we have realized over the many years that we have worked with them is that in a lifetime, this is the only course that they'll ever take. This is the only course. So my team and I, we really try to really perfect, you know, the training. I would want to see governments really enact laws and policies to protect domestic workers and to professionalize domestic work so that it can be a respectable occupation. But most importantly, these domestic workers are our support systems. When we leave our homes and we go to the offices or wherever else we have been called to go and serve, you know, it is that domestic worker really who enables us that opportunity. So I truly feel that as a society, we really owe them a lot. We owe them, yeah. We have an obligation as citizens, you know, to give back and to give back in big ways so that no one is left behind, yeah.
Back, we have your favorite segments. On NTV Weekend Edition, have you had this History Saturday and a new one you do not want to miss?